one topic, Pickmes are dangerous. And, you know, it has come to my attention, like, there's some like insane rhetoric being spread right now on like TikTok from, Pickmes. And I really find it to be scary. And, I never thought that you would see pick-me's trying to pretend that that is not what they are in an attempt to get more women on their side down the rabbit hole of being a pick-me. And, it's really insane. Um, I'll say I saw these two women, some screen recordings of them doing a live stream, and I was flabbergasted at the things that they were saying. The woman that you see on the right was talking about the fact that women go back to men after being abused because it's just an example, or it shows how much women need men. Women need men so badly. Women need men to exist and be mentally healthy and sane and all of these things. And I think that what a woman like this doesn't understand is that men don't like desperation. Men don't like desperation. Men don't like women who make things easily accessible for them. Men don't like women that they can just get access to at the drop of a dime. And they don't like that. And no, you begging and pleading and getting on your hands and knees and begging for a crumb of attention from a BM is never going to work out for you. They may at first take what you're offering, but they're never going to give back what you're giving to them. They're not going to center you. They're not going to love you. They're not going to do any of these things. You know what I'm saying? And I I think it's just so important to talk about these things. Um, so I really want to have this conversation today about, the whole thing that we have right now of, and I don't mean like using the pick me in the term that some people use it, misuse it. Because some women will call another woman to pick me for no reason. Maybe she disagrees with what she's saying, or maybe, she has a man or something like that. I'm not into just calling any woman to pick me. I'm actually into using the term correctly. A woman that centers men above anything, a woman that craves male validation, a woman that will sell other women out, you know, those type of things. And that is the term pick me that I agree and believe in using it when it comes to addressing black women that are pick me's. Because honestly, the conversation that I saw yesterday was absolutely disturbing to me. Like I was absolutely disturbed to hear black women lie on other black women or lie on the collective of black women in order to push a false reality of black men, to say that women that get beat on by men, they go back because they need the presence of a man, and that's God's way of telling black women that they, or telling you're a prophetess. What are we doing? Like, I don't understand that. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Y'all let me know if I'm lagging. Somebody asked if things are lagging. Y'all let me know. Um, and if y'all could like the live too, that would also help. Hey Sage, how you doing?
Um, who is the lady on the right? I know just the girl, but who is the
Okay, the lady on the right is the real Jane. She used to be Men Are Not the Enemy. She used to be the lady that was always out on the street corner holding up signs, talking about like men are not the
was
enemy,
she the one
men
wearing
need
the
love.
hijab?
I don't think she wore a hijab, hijab. I think that was that's another lady. I know there's a lady
Yeah,
named
that
Class
lady.
First
I always
that
think
wears
about the
one.
lady who wore the hijab, the Muslim lady, and she got caught on video smoking crack.
Oh, you
And
probably
she,
can't say that word.
I can't. Oh, okay. Sorry. Do I need to drop and come back?
Maybe.
I'll come back.
Okay. Oh, she does. Okay, the real Jane does wear a headscarf. TK. Um, Yeah. Well, like I said, she's the lady that's always outside. Well, she was outside holding up signs and stuff. And then she made this big thing that she no longer wants to defend men, and she was making all these lies where she was talking about she was done trying to help men because men don't want her help. And then she was having these weird lives where men were trying to talk to her, and she was telling them like, leave me alone, and don't talk to me, and doing all this weird stuff. And honestly, I think what it was is that what she was doing is she was trying to get their attention. She was hoping that if she changed up, acted like she was mad at them for somehow, some way, that was going to get the attention of men. And that it was so crazy because in her lives when she was doing that, she still wasn't getting the attention that she wanted. Like they were saying, like, oh, oh, are you okay? Hopefully you find the man that you need eventually. But they
I
weren't
mean,
any men that were trying to talk to her. Like she's extremely desperate.
so
Extremely
to the
desperate.
lady on the right, I'm trying to be nice because I'm not familiar with her. But the way you describe her, I think with a lot of these people, a lot of these women that come in online, I don't think a lot of them are working with a full deck of cards. I think a lot of them might need to go to a licensed professional for a potential evaluation to see if there's some sort of disorder, or there might be something else going on with them genetically to where their brains are just not functioning right. And that's me being nice because I don't know this. I haven't seen her.
I think this lady is. I mean, I don't know her intimately, but I did talk to her on the live, and she told me that she would take my husband.
Oh, well, if she said that, okay, I'm just gonna be blunt then. She needs to go check to make sure she's not inbred, especially with that hard wig and that gigantic forehead, because that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And the whole thing is, if they want male attention, the formula is simple. If you want male attention, it's not hard. Like I don't understand. I
I
don't
think
understand.
Sage, I know you have a husband, but the way you present to me, Sage, you don't come off. You're a very attractive woman. You don't come off as desperate. I think the reason why she can't get somebody is honestly, legitimately, because she is very desperate and she acts extremely desperate. And I wish that more. And she's old enough to know better. I think she said she's like 36 or something like that.
Okay, so she's
Like
3
she's
years older
well
than
enough,
me.
old enough to know that like being desperate will never get you a man. At least not a man that you want. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing is if she really want a man, she could be a hoe. If you want
This
attention that bad, go be a hoe.
lady is
But
like,
she
hold
looked like
on.
she got a mental illness. She looked like, and I hate to say it like that, but it's just because I was raised by somebody who's severely mentally ill, and my sibling is severely mentally ill, and it's just looking at her picture. I don't know what it is, but something just gives off mental illness to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you hear her talk, I definitely think that the elevator is not going all the way up there to the top floor. That's for sure. Like because she was, like I said, she was talking about her being a prophetess and talking about that men black she
It's
actually
crazy.
said this in a live. She said that black women are like a drain on society, and nobody likes black women or sees the value in them, and black women have got to start now being nice to people so that when everything hits the fan, black women have men to come to for help and assistance, because we're going to need men for help and assistance. And she's trying to tell black women basically that they need to fix up their rude and nasty and evil ways so somebody can help them. And I really she
Sounds
crazy.
like she's
but
talking about herself.
but let me go down here to Magical so she can get a chance to speak. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead, Magic. Go ahead, Magical. Let me send you a request to turn your mic on just in case you can't. um Magical Masterpiece, were you there? Did you want to speak? Well, okay. All right. Well, I'll just
I got
I'll leave
something to
you.
say about Just a Girl
Oh, go
while we
ahead.
get on my. That is an evil, wicked woman. I can guarantee you that she probably treats her husband like shit. She's probably terrorizing that man. She's a pick me. She's still a pick me. But I promise you, that man is going through it with that woman. And somebody like her, somebody like Just a Girl, there's no reasoning in talking to somebody like that.
Do you know what she said? Do you
That's
know what she
somebody you gotta
said?
bully,
On
huh?
this live yesterday, she said that all the black men are in prison because they have been protecting and defending black women. And that's why they're in jail. And
Yeah,
she
that's not
said
right.
that black women are in prison because they want to break the law and abandon their families and they don't care about their kids. I was like, what?
What?
Statistically, anytime you ever like, if you ever watch like, documentaries and stuff on like women in prison or men in prison, the majority of women are in prison because of something involving a man. They either
Yep.
took a charge for a
Yep,
man or
boo.
they went, like, that's the majority. And I'm not saying that there aren't any women that are just crazy and just did something off the chain, but the majority of women are there. And this is like a fact. I thought most people easily knew that most women are in jail because of a man, and that there have been so many studies on this. They were sitting there really saying that black women were in prison because black women just want to commit crimes and be bogus and not help out their communities, but black men are only in there because they're just trying to help everybody.
That is just insane.
And it
I
was
think they got it
crazy.
backwards. I think they got it backwards. I mean, I really do. That's some real rage bait right there, trying to get a reaction out of people.
No, they really believe this
But
girl.
I'm trying to.
Oh, go ahead, Magical.
You think they believe that?
I think that just a girl
Oh, hey,
believes that.
okay. So this is what I wanted to.
Go ahead, sis.
Well, well with my cousin. I can speak on that. His baby mama, the first one, she ended up getting on drugs. She got on drugs behind him. He was doing it, and I was like, how do you rationalize wanting to do what he does when you know what he does is not good? Now you on drugs, and at the time he wasn't no more. And I was like, so you let a man drag you there? Some women want their attention so bad and to feel connected and feel loved. I think that's what it is. So they'll disregard everything. You have no idea how many times a woman will go to a man to diss another woman just because she feel like it. And I'm like, you wanted him? If you wanted him, just why you didn't say you wanted him? You don't have to down me to get the man. They do it all the time. That's what I consider pick-me's. You don't have to knock me. You don't have to do what they do to be with them.
Men ain't
It's
even worth a
crazy.
damn. Most
Right.
men aren't worth the damn. I'm just like, I remember this dude told me that his baby mama or an ex-girlfriend and wife or something were fighting in the courthouse. I'm like, what? And I asked him, okay, what are they fighting over? What do they get fighting over you? And he couldn't answer. It's like, I'm like, most of these dudes don't have no money. They got all these kids. It's like, what are y'all with? Y'all just are just doing all this just for the sake of saying that you have a man. Like, a lot of women nowadays, they miss the plot. Women back in the day, they had to get a man because, of course, for financial reasons and how society was set up back in the day. But now a lot of women just get a man and you sitting up there paying all the bills and he's sitting up in the house not doing anything or selling illegal substances out of your house, and he ain't got no job. He got a record, and you still cooking and cleaning. I mean, it's just so many women that just miss the plot, and they just have a man just for the sake of having one. And I absolutely refuse.
It's an emotional void though. It's a void that's missing that they trying to fill, and it doesn't matter who feel it. That's what it seems like. It's just a void in the emotions. So they don't go back and look at, why do I accept this? It's really a lack of self-worth. And men probably have always told them, because you'll meet a man. I met this guy, the first thing he did was show me a picture of his ex. Now, don't get me wrong, she was drop dead gorgeous, but why would you show me that? So he was planting in my head already that I needed to compete with her. They
Compete
play
for
games like
what?
that.
That's what I'm. No, because I had a dude try that with me. He kept mentioning other women. I'm like, okay, bet. Let me show you all these dudes that be trying to get at me. And one of the dudes that actually a couple of dudes that tried to get at me was one of his, well, a few of the guys that he knew for his homeboys. So I would one of the dudes, I'm like, ooh, look at him. He still got his muscles and everything. And he got a 6-pack and he this and he's that. Because it's like, okay, bet you want to sit up here and talk about other women around me? I'm gonna talk about these other dudes. And he didn't like it because he, truth be told, he really didn't have no options like that. But I had a whole bunch of guys that was trying to talk to me. And one of the dudes, he said, "Oh, that's my N-word. That's my N-word." The dude, I'm like, "Okay, bet." Well, he was trying to talk to me. He wanted to take me out on a date and everything. And he said this and he did this. I just hate it when they do that. So when they do that, I'm like, okay, well, return. I mean, I'm married now, so I don't got to worry about that stuff. But when I was out here dating, that's one of the things that I do. I'm like, if they do something like that to me, I just do it back to them, and they don't like it.
They don't like it. Like it, but they always pitting women against each other, and you'll see that they fall for it every time. I had a neighbor. She was going back and forth with this man. He was between her and his wife. The wife knocking on the door 3:00 in the morning. I gotta go to work at 5, so I go outside. I call her on the phone. I say, "You hear that lady knocking?" Yeah, she want him to come out. Do y'all know that man wouldn't even come outside? And the woman called the police. The police was like, "Ma'am, how can we make him leave out of there?" I was like, y'all are battling each other and he getting the rewards. He ended up marrying neither one of them. A girl that didn't have no kids from him.
Well, that sounds about right.
Did he ever get married?
To the first girl he was ever in love with, and she had 0 kids with him. And they doing good. You hear me? Good.
And that's the thing.
Like I told you.
And that's the thing. Like when I hear these women talk about, oh, you got to do this, and this to get a man. I've had guys that I've dated and I talked to, I didn't even sleep with, and they ain't even touch me. And they done given me money, bought me food, did a whole bunch of stuff for me. So while I'm sitting up here trying to figure out why are all these women sitting up here trying to do all of this just to get a man that's not even their husband. And I have done significantly less. And mind you, I didn't always look like this. I had a bald head. I used to be bald headed. Okay. I used to be a bald head scallywag. And I still was able to get men to do stuff like that for me. And I'm just like, what is going on with some of these women?
Because they present it wrong. They start off trying to prove their worth to the man. Once you do that, it's over. He gonna drain you dry. He gonna do you dirty. They start off trying to prove to him that they worthy of him. It is supposed to be vice versa.
And then the whole thing is, I don't got nothing to prove to nobody except God on Judgment Day. But it's like, I just keep noticing the pattern that it's like, it's always these guys who are just, it's never a man who has some money and assets and got their stuff together and they respect women. It's always the lowest of the lowest of the lowest common denominator men that they be doing this stuff for. And then the dudes be dusty and raggedy as hell. I'm like, what is going on here?
You know, I just wish that, and well, at least I hope that we can counteract a lot of this because both of them are talking about they want to educate women on the proper way to engage with men, interact with men, that and they neither of them are good options to listen to. Janine has a husband that looks like he belongs off of Wrong Turn. Her husband is absolutely, repulsive. And not to mention that we don't even have to necessarily talk about appearance. He's also a pookie, very uneducated, can't spell, can't read, can't write, can't speak properly. Then you have, the real Jane that has been, offering up her cookies on a platter and nobody still will take them. She's been offering her cookie up for free and nobody still will take it, not even for the free. You know what I'm saying? And these are women that are completely embarrassing and are extremely desperate. And it's just like, you don't want that to be you because desperation will get you nowhere. Putting all of your all into a man that is not giving you anything in return, that will only lead you like emotionally and mentally damaged and broken. And it's sad because there are younger women that actually go in their lives and stuff and listen to them. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. Like, why would you ever listen to these women about anything at all? Like, there'd be absolutely nothing and no reason for you to listen to them. Like, they literally have no healthy advice to give you other than to tell you to be the best doormat that you can be. And, as far as Janine goes, it's like you're sitting there always holding your marriage over somebody's head. But the majority, which I would say 99% of women, probably 99.9, could get a man just like yours if they were willing to lower their standards. Anybody can get any ugly guy with tooth decay that talks like he is mentally delayed and has had a lack of oxygen during childbirth for like 15 minutes. Anybody can get a man like that. You know what I'm saying? And anybody, if you're willing to lower your standards to the dirt and the depths of hell, like, of course. Oh, sorry, whoever just came up here to request up. You said what now?
That was that girl named Mika.
She can come up here and say what she wanted to say. I just didn't I was just about to finish my speech. But Mika, if you're still in here, you can come up here and say your perspective, even if I don't agree. I don't mind. I'll give you 2 minutes to speak uninterrupted. But yeah, all I was saying is that women going to these type of women for advice is just, to me, it's insane. Going to somebody like the real Jane for advice, a woman that's desperate, begging, hooting, hollering, crying about having a man, and been doing it for the past several years and still can't find not one man. But then what makes no sense to me is that she says that good men are everywhere. There are so many good men everywhere. The people that are around here is just bad women around. But it's a whole bunch of good men. It's a whole bunch of good black men around. Well, if that's the case, how come you've been begging for a good man for years now? Either there's something wrong with the collective of men and you lying, or there's something wrong with you. Because why in the world don't you have this mysteriously great man when you supposedly say they everywhere? Huh? I mean, I wish that people would more likely, think critically when it comes to things like that, instead of just taking these women at their, at face value. Like, honestly, I because something in the milk isn't clean. Something ain't adding up. You know what I mean? Like, if
Something
you
ain't right in the buttermilk.
exactly, like, it just doesn't make any sense. But hey Sage, what was you about to tell me about Mika? You know her or something?
I don't know, Mika. I just saw that I saw she came up here too, and she just dropped. And I didn't know if you dropped her or she.
No, I didn't drop her. I was gonna let
Mhm.
her speak. I looked in the little guest list that I see, but I don't see her here anymore. So maybe she like requested her by accident or something. Sometimes that happens too. Like, there'll be people that will say that they requested by mistake.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, just like I was saying earlier, just a girl. That's not somebody I can deal with. I mean, she really isn't somebody that I could
No, girl,
deal
and
with
the
her
thing
on a
about it
regular
is that she
basis,
says that she's always just trying
or
to help black
be
women.
in a church with her.
She says that she's always trying to help black
No,
women,
she's
but then
not.
she always makes sure that she separates herself from black women. Like, I saw this clip of hers because she got me blocked on this page. I saw because I asked her a question in the live a long time ago that made sense, but she didn't want anybody to challenge her. She had said like she was saying like, oh, black women are lazy, black women don't want to do nothing, black women want to sit there and be taken care of by black men, which isn't true. Black women have never in their lives been taken care of collectively by black men ever. Black women were always working, always doing the exact same thing black men were doing. But she was like, yeah, black women are so lazy, but I'm a different type of caliber of woman. I'm a different type of black woman.
So essentially, this is what you oftentimes see, right? Essentially, she thinks that
Exactly.
she's the exception. They always think they're the exception to the rule. Like, I don't know if I told you this, but I was on a live panel, and this one girl, she referred to other women as females, but she referred to herself as a woman. I'm like, sis, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but it's literally people who live in the worst environments and are in the worst positions of their lives, and for some reason they think that they're better than other women to refer to other women as females. And then it's like they just think that, oh, it's not going to happen to me, or I'm better than other women, or I'm the exception to the rule. But then when you end up the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth baby mama, and he leave you for the women that, or cheats on you with the women that you felt like you were the exception to the rule to, all of a sudden you want to cry. You want to cry. So yeah, she just thinks that she is set apart and that she's the exception to the rule when it comes to other women. And I don't know why, because if a man has a certain pattern of behavior, that pattern of behavior is not going to change just for you. It's going to go right across the board. So she has a superiority complex. I don't know who she thinks she's superior to. She damn sure ain't superior to me, because I'm going to stop right there because there's certain stuff I can't say.
But yeah, I mean, I
I'm
think that she just thinks that she's superior to, the collective of Black women in general. And, I think it's so insane for you to say that you are trying to mentor young Black girls and you're trying to help Black women, but then all the time you make sure that you elevate yourself and put the rest of Black women at the bottom and let them know, in no uncertain terms, if you're paying attention, that, she truly believes that she's above you. And for the life of me, I just can't understand it. And actually, when I first came across her content, the way she would speak and, talk about marriage and hold her ring up in the camera and all of that type of things, I was like, I know her man better be looking. Yeah, he better be on point, because you are sitting here really, really bragging and acting like, oh yeah, y'all can't get him in, y'all can't get a ring and all of this stuff. And I went and saw her husband and I was just flabbergasted. Like, I can't even believe that you would even, you know what I'm saying, dare play
She's
these.
delusional. These women are delusional. Like, she's delusional. Because I saw what her husband looked like with that patchy ass. It's a lot of stuff I can't say that I want to say.
Girl, I'm just like, I just, I don't even want to make it like, I'm just really going to tear her to pieces or whatnot, because I'd rather attack her argument. I'll just say that, because I highly dislike her. And the reason why I dislike her, and I'll say that I feel like it's gone to a point to where it's personal, because I really do feel like, not to mention she tried to say that I tried to do some things to her that weren't true. She was lying about me on the live. But outside of that, I just think that her message is harmful to Black women and Black girls, because it sets them up to be taken advantage of. It sets them up to be used and abused by men, because if you constantly devalue Black women and Black girls and tell them that they should be lucky that any man will give them any opportunity because they don't have any worth or value, that sets up women to be abused, raped, essayed, knocked between the washer and dryer, and a whole host of other things. And I just wish that, there weren't so many women that were, desperate and thirsty for male attention, that would, follow a woman like her in hopes that she has some type
It's a
of
scam.
knowledge to help you get somebody, because she doesn't. The only thing that she can advise you on how to get a man is to settle. Like, hey, she settled, and she can tell every other Black woman, hey, settle. Take the first man, that looks like he came from, outer space, to go ahead and be your husband. That's what you can do. And that's how you can get a man, because, to lower your standards. And that's not healthy for anybody. TK in the comments, you said you want to see this husband. I have two videos on her. It's like underneath my, I think, my exposed tab or my Pickmes tab, but her husband's in there. You can see him
I say, when she says stuff like that,
on my YouTube.
putting women down, all that is a scam. Because at the end of the day, like, a lot of these women who are in their 40s and 50s and six, et cetera, who spent their lives trying to please a man, they don't got nothing to show for it. They don't got nothing to show for it, and they regret all that time. And if you ask any old woman, like an old woman who's like 80, 90, 70s, ask them would they advise marriage, because I've heard people who worked in these old folks homes and they talk to these old women, and these old women, they'll be like, don't get married. It's not what you think it is. And then, I am married, but I'm just saying, overall, most of these men, they're not worth it. So this idea where these males have all this value, They really don't, because they don't, a lot of them don't contribute anything to your life and add something positive. A lot of them just take and use you, if not most. So go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think that that's why I feel like her message is so dangerous, because there are women out there that have chosen the correct man, a man that's pouring into them, that's loving on them properly, a man that they made, they put boundaries in place and had standards in order to have that man in their life and things like that. And then you have women like Janine, that will just tell women basically to have their standards in the gutter. And that when you do that, that's automatically a recipe for you to be an older woman, depressed and upset about the decisions that you made, and upset at who you chose, and not to like the
The
institution of
whole
marriage, because all marriage really is two imperfect people getting together, and and loving each other and figuring out. And if you don't choose the right person, then of course marriage is gonna suck. Of course you gonna feel like you messed up. Of course you gonna feel like nobody else should do it. But if you choose the right person and you really found your person and they really love you and they really care about you and you really care about them and y'all really respect each other, marriage can be a very beautiful thing. But I would say that shaming women into feeling like they have to be married or they have to have a man, or being single, there's something wrong with it, that only sets up women for the okey doke. Period. It only sets women up to make bad decisions, because they're like, oh man, I gotta hurry up and find somebody, because without a man, I'm worthless. And that is a terrible, terrible message to send women. Like, it really is. And then when those women get okey doke, these women will be the same ones that will then again shame those women for either choosing wrong or being back alone by themselves, which is crazy. I just cannot get with the mentality behind it at all, because like I said, all it does is it set women up to
Well, the
be
whole
hurt.
thing is, my issue is telling women to lower their stand. First of all, telling women to lower their standards only gives the opportunity for unworthy males to become fathers. It doesn't make any sense for a woman to lower her standards, because don't you want the best possible person to be a father? Because you're not just choosing a mate, you're choosing somebody's father. And a lot of women are okay with being by ourselves because, again, they said it's projected that almost 50% of us are going to be childless and single by, I think, like 2035 or something like that. So, I mean, it's a lot of bloodlines of men that shouldn't even exist right now. And I just personally feel like a lot of these men that you see, especially just the girl's husband, they should not be allowed to reproduce. No woman should have laid down with them to give them a bloodline and have their genes go on to the next generation. Because most of these men are losers. Like, most of them are losers. Like, if something happens between my husband and I'm not getting married again, because these guys are losers. It's like, you go to these colleges, women are outpacing men in education. We're outpacing them in everything. So all these men that we're outpacing, those are the ones that don't need to reproduce and go on to the next generation. And I hate the fact that back in the day, a woman needed a man to get a bank account, to get a house, to get a land, to get all of that, because it's a lot of unworthy males that are now entitled. It's programmed in their DNA and it's been passed down to them to be entitled. They feel like it's their right to have a woman. So right now they're freaking shell shocked that they can't get a woman. And now they're realizing that what men are really supposed to do is they're supposed to compete with each other and improve themselves just so they can have access to a woman. But this idea that women are supposed to compete for men and prove ourselves to men, it's bullshit. Excuse my French.
It is.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I really do. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna come with a lot of this stuff. I think that um an uncomfortable truth that I have had to realize myself is that, I oftentimes, hold spaces, and then, of course, like-minded women may come in and, give me their perspective, like you ladies. But I think that there are a lot of black women that are still, super duper male centered, super pick me out. And that's the reason why, a lot of these women manage to get like very big platforms and stuff, because there are women that are just like this. They just may be afraid to say it, or they may be afraid to put it out there, but they're just as desperate as these women in the picture. And that is a problem. And for the life of me, I really do feel like, we'll never be able to get anywhere in the Black community, until we are able to exercise this demon of entitlement that Black men have. But the only reason why they have this entitlement is really because of Black women. Because there are so many Black women that still actively coddle Black men, actively worship Black men, actively beg for their attention. I still see Black women saying, "Oh, don't date out, come back home, king," and begging for their attention when these Black men could care less, because you very rarely ever see Black men doing that to a Black woman that they see dating out. They don't ask her to come back home because they don't care. I will say that a lot of times they may try to be rude to her and disrespect her and stuff because they're upset, but they're not asking. You know what I'm saying? They're not begging. And I'm just tired of seeing, Black women putting themselves in a position of reciprocating, or no, not reciprocating. That's not the word, because that would be giving it back. It's sad to see Black women give themselves to men who never reciprocate that feeling back. You're telling them that they're so valued. You're telling them there's nothing like a Black man. You're telling them that they're your king and that other races of men cannot compare. And they are never doing that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any Black men out there that love Black women unapologetically, because there are some, but that's the reason why when there is a Black man that does things like that, he go viral almost overnight, because it's like not that many. But it's a bajillion Black women doing that type of stuff. And that is so embarrassing to me. Like, that's why I don't think any Black women publicly should ever, say things like that. Even if you feel like you really like Black men, or you think they're attractive or whatever, I don't think Black women should do any outpouring of love for them, publicly. Because the collective of Black men don't do that for Black women. So, like, I just feel like it just makes you look goofy.
And I've addressed that
Exactly.
too. I've addressed that, and okay, this is the frustrating thing. One, people like Just a Girl, and some of them just get up here and they do. I do. Some of them believe what they believe it, but a lot of the thing is that they just like to go viral and see if they can make money off of it too. But the other thing is,
Yep. That's you too.
what I got, I caught an issue with is when I point out the fact on why things are so bad in our community, and I point to women and the things that women are doing to enable the behavior. Like, they'll sit here and enable these men's bad behavior. Then somebody will be like, "Oh, well, you're blaming women," because I just had that happen recently. And I'd be trying to tell people that, you have to acknowledge that Black women create an environment. And again, it's not just Black women, it's the Black community as a collective. But a lot of Black women create an environment for these type of men to thrive. Like, and I try to put it in perspective for people, because somebody told me I sounded like a pick me for saying that, but I don't know how else to say it. It's a lot of Black women taking care of grown men, feeding their egos. And I'm like, that's not helping. Again, we're not responsible for what a grown adult male does. But it's like, y'all have to acknowledge a lot of Black women don't have an issue with the way some of these Black men are. And not only do they enable them, but they actively help them to be like this.
I mean, you're right. That is true. And that is very true. I don't have any pushback for that, because I have seen a lot of Black women do that. And like I said, that's the reason why all of this stuff is still able to continue. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. Like, it's crazy. Go ahead, child free. Go ahead, sis. Let me send you a request to turn your mic on just in case you can.
I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I had it muted. The young lady who is speaking right now is One 100% spot on. One of the things that I have constantly come up against, and I understand why. I mean, I get the reasons as to why. It is so difficult, first of all, for anybody to look at themselves and become painfully, just hardcore honest about every aspect of ourselves. It is challenging. And let's be honest, most people aren't going to do it. They're not going to do it because they don't want to remember the mistakes they've made. They don't even want to call them mistakes. They want to pretend, I was young, I was dumb, and that could all be true. But when you start reaching a certain age bracket and you're still doing the same things you were doing when you were young and when you were dumb, and now you're like no longer young, then it's like, okay, you might need to take a beat. I start looking at people, women like that, and start wondering, okay, what's really going on with you that this is still the way you are choosing to live? The young lady speaking made a valid point. Women are not responsible for the behavior of men. We are responsible for, however, for the behaviors we accept and enable. And until Black women as a collective, which more are waking up, thank goddess, but until as a collective, and I understand there are always going to be those girls who want the thugs. They want the guys who have nothing going on. They want the drama. That's about their emotional needs being fulfilled through the drama. That has nothing to do with me or other women who are looking at reality and going, you know what? I need to step back and I need to make some changes to ensure the life that I want to cultivate is the life that I'm actually creating for myself. And I think until we as a collective of Black women, again, there's always going to be that subculture that's, no matter what, I'm going to stick by you and, God bless. But the collective of Black women, until we start saying, you know what, I'm not accepting you with 6 kids and 6 different baby mamas. I'm not accepting the fact that you don't have a job. I'm not accepting the fact that you want to stay home and play video games all day. No, you cannot drive my car because we're the same age and you have a cock under a patriarchal system. Why don't you have your own vehicle? No, you cannot move in with me. No, you can't stay. You can't crash. We're the same age. Why don't you have your own shit? Until Black women start looking at the collective of Black men, those women who exclusively date them, until they start looking at them and going, these are my expectations and these are my standards, you either meet them or we don't engage. Until that happens, nothing's going to change. I'll land. Thank you.
And I just wanted to add to what you were saying. It's the simple fact that the best way I could put it in perspective, and I don't like using this example, but the best way I put it in perspective is when there is a uncle or a male family member that has done something to a lot of the kids in the family, and then next thing you know, he can still come to the family functions, and a lot of family functions are organized and run by the women in the family, and the women still let them come. It's like, okay, yeah, we need to point out these women in the family that are running these family functions that are still allowing this man in the family who is a problem to still come. That's the best way I have tried to convey to people, to put it in perspective, because a lot of people understand that I example and identify with it, because it's like, okay, yes, the women in the family are not responsible for that man's actions, but at the same time, why is he still allowed to come around? So when I take that and I flip it, once I use that as an example and I flip it, I'm like, it's the same thing, to where if you got a male family member and he don't got no job, he don't got no car, he's a career criminal, and he's been problematic for women, stop helping him get out of jail. Stop giving him a place to stay. Stop helping these guys. You guys helping them and getting them out of trouble is what's contributing to the problem. And then as women, it's like, if he already got kids, right? If he already has a 1-year-old or a newborn baby, don't date him. Don't date him, because that's contributing to the problem. And when I say it's contributing to the problem, right? It's like, the reason why a lot of these men do what they do is because they know they can just go get with another woman who doesn't care if he already got kids or if he's seeing the kids, and he'll just feed her some excuse, and she's just okay with him talking to her because she just wants to have a man around, until the shoe is on the other foot and she ends up baby mama number 2, and he moves on to try to get baby mama number 3.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
I think you have a really valid point. I think until we reach a place where we as women are looking at how this behavior affects everybody, this behavior impacts all of us, especially when children get involved. Now, if it's two adults and they're both idiots and they don't have any kids and they're never going to have children, I really couldn't care less at that point because I'm not impacted, right? That's not going to impact me. And we all know there's always going to be the subset of women who, no matter what, are going to like the drama. So I don't even speak to them. I consider them to be like maggots. There's no point in trying to engage them. They can't hear anything you're saying because they've bought all in to this idea that, well, Black men have it so hard. And it's almost like, well, yeah, but you as a woman, you struggle with racism, schmexism, and ageism. You have everything he has and then more. And it's so when these women can't get it, I don't keep going. But for the women who get it in the information age, there's too much information at this point for us as Black women to even still consider entertaining folks who don't have anything on their mind at this point. And the way this country is going right now, if you are a woman who desires children, I strongly recommend that, as careful as you were choosing prior to this new regime in America, as careful as you were prior to them taking office, you better increase that 100-fold. You cannot afford right now to get caught out here with a kid by some loser. I'll land. Thank you.
This is my thing for a lot.
Just 1 second, Sage. I wanted to respond to PG 1908 in the comments. She was talking about that college educated BMs also expect Black women to tolerate DS too. I think that is true. I think a lot of times, because the problems sometimes that are associated with men that may be educated are slightly different than a man that you may be dealing with that's like, a man that maybe has more of a hood mentality, or he's not working, or things like that. I feel like the problems are different. Like a lot of times the men that because I dated a guy that was college educated before I got married, that had both his parents in the household. And he was, on paper, you would think that he was, the type of Black man that a Black woman would want. However, he was a liar and a manipulator and very selfish and a whole lot of other things, and he thought that basically he just was supposed to, be worshiped because he was a Black man that, had supposedly, beat the odds or whatever. And I think that a lot of times we don't look at them, but we look at the more in your front air people, Black men, like the Pookies and the Ray Rays and all of that. But we don't talk about the educated men that also could be a womanizer, a cheater, or whatever. But yeah, they exist as well. So definitely not saying, well, I definitely just wanted to acknowledge PG 1908's comment, because that definitely is true as well. There are a lot of archetypes of men, that are problematic. And of course, this whole pick me thing, or what we're talking about, it applies to like men in general. You know what I'm saying? I think men in general have the capability of being, absolutely repulsive, or, okay. But like I said, I think I've said this a million times. I know I said it recently. In my opinion, like I said before, I think, and this goes for all races of men, I think that you got like 75-25, 70-30, 75%, 70% being bad men that are not eligible or you shouldn't even choose. And then 25 to 30% of men that may be decent, marriage material. And there are women that believe those numbers are lower, which I would never argue with your number, because we have no idea, what the true numbers are. But I definitely think the majority of men, of any race or any ethnicity or any culture, are not really worthy of having relationships with women. But yeah, I just, like I said, I just wanted to address what PG 1908 said, because I do think that she made a good point. And also Sage in the comments, who said that most men, don't offer anything except being a man. I think that's true too. Go ahead, Sage.
So for me to elaborate on that, which
Okay.
really doesn't need to be elaborated, but like I think men in general have been overhyped about their value about being a man, and that men are so desired and this, that, and the third, or whatever, or that they're, and I feel like what's happening, especially with black men, is that they're realizing as they age, unless they actually work towards something and add some value to their community and to their families, that all that stuff that these pick me women had overhyped them about, it's a lie. It's a lie. Like, they don't have, I don't know how to say this. They don't have that quote unquote inherent value just because they have a phallus in between their legs. And I think that's why a lot of them are crashing out online, because a lot of these men don't have anybody. And it's like, we outnumber these guys. In the black community, it's more women than men. But at the same time, it's a lot of black women that are like, nah, I'm just going to be single, or nah, I'm not going to accept this, because a lot of black women have greatly outpaced black men. And I think, and I hate to say this, I really do, because this is dangerous territory. A lot of black
I
men
hate to say it.
a lot of black men don't realize that a lot of black women are no longer in their tax bracket. I think back in the day, maybe in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, you could run across and see a very good quality black woman who has her stuff together. But now, because of education and us making more money, and the fact that a lot of black men have fallen behind greatly, the educated black women like myself who have their own money, our own money, we don't want to be with a man who's not on our level. So, and then I see a lot of black men, I realize why they're complaining about women with, I'm trying to find a nice way to say this. I see why they're complaining about low quality women. That's the nice way to say it. They're complaining about low quality women because that's all they have access to, because they have not taken the time to improve themselves. And the women who actually are of good quality are educated. They don't tolerate abuse. They don't tolerate misogyny. There are a lot of them. There are plenty of that are pickmes, but a lot of them who are us who are educated and who have our stuff together, we're not pickmes. And so they want access to those type of women, but they realize they can't because their finances are not in order. They're misogynistic. They have very poor education. And they're slowly seeing how, like I said, black women are just are out of their tax bracket.
I definitely agree. I've come in contact with so many beautiful black women, educated black women, bomb black women, okay? And they just simply have said, like, hey, I'm not trying to talk to any men right now because there aren't any men that meet my standards, or they've decided to not talk to black men because of how they have been representing themselves. And it's just like, it's just crazy to me because it's, in my opinion, there are just so many black women that, have managed to take control of themselves and take control of their lives and have a lot to offer, but they can't find anyone that can do the same for them, if that makes any type of sense. And
One young lady up here, she's a nurse, right? And she was saying that she can't find a black man that's on par with her. And she was like, I wish I could find the video. The black men in the comments were giving her a hard time. And unfortunately, a lot of black men, but not all, or there's an overabundance of black men in the community that date for survival. And if you're a black woman who has her stuff together, you don't want to date somebody for survival, or somebody dating you for survival because they need your help. A lot of us want somebody who's an equal partner.
yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you with that. Hey, I just wanted to respond to Supervillain in the comments. Girl, Supervillain. Your girl T, she had sent me a DM and she was like, hey, something crazy is going on. And I happened to see these like the little things of Janine. And the real Jane is up here. And I went and saw their lives, and the things they were saying, it just blew my mind. Like it did. And that's why I wanted to talk about them today. Um I was about to say something, but my mind went blank. I can't get behind, a woman making Desperation her whole persona online and still not being able to get anything with that desperation, and then encouraging other women to be just as desperate. I feel like that is so damaging to women. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell y'all some more about it. I was waiting for T to come up because hopefully she ends up coming in, because I want to know if she was there, if she saw the live stream, if she heard what they were saying. Because the things that they were saying was crazy. Go ahead, child free.
Can I jump in to just kind of really quickly add to what you two ladies were saying earlier about the Black woman who was having a difficult time finding a Black man who's on par with what she's doing? Like I said earlier, we're always going to have those groups of women, that subset of women who are Black women who are, no matter what, I'm just going to be with, somebody who has a cock. But I tend to go a little on a different path, because I look at some of the public representation. Now, that may be true more so for regular schmegular Black women who've gone to college, gotten their education, or in their career, have their own homes, da 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 da. But they're not, we're not famous or anything like that. But when you look at people like, for example, Rihanna, who is a billionaire, Fenty Beauty has catapulted her into the billionaires club. And was it 2 weeks ago? You are sitting at a trial. You are a billionaire Black woman business owner. Yes, you started your career in singing. We all know how she started out. But you have taken Fenty Beauty to a whole nother level. And you are sitting behind Rocky, whatever his name is, in a court hearing. Now, yes, he was found not guilty. That's awesome. And I really hope he really was not guilty. But the fact that you are a billionaire Black woman, and the only man you felt worthy enough to attach yourself to and have a couple of babies with, by the way, is someone who is sitting at trial, and you have access to all types of men, Black, if that's her preference, whatever she's into. You have access to it because money buys you options. I think a lot of times Black women have been led to believe that they have this guilt factor, and you
Well,
must stay
Rihanna,
with, and you
I
must
just want to
represent. And it's
interject and
like,
say, Rihanna has dated out. Like, she was dating like some type of I think he was like an Arab prince that was like worth, I don't know if it was worth
it
billions
was,
or millions, but
yep.
she was dating him for a hot little minute. Rihanna's not afraid to date out. So I think maybe she just didn't have success with these other races of men, because she definitely Rihanna ain't afraid to get out there. Uh she was with some different races
Host,
of
I
men.
hear you. You're absolutely right. She has dated out. And that's not even really my major point. I mean, my major point is, are you telling me as a billionaire with access you have to all types of men, that this is who you as a Black billionaire woman settled for? Is someone who was on trial, and you're sitting here with your $1 billion business supporting this person, and that's who you chose to have children with. This man is in your life now. This is it. This is forever, right? Because they have two babies together, two children together. So it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like, what are you thinking?
I mean,
I'll land. That's my.
I think with Rihanna, I think she probably settled. And I think that a lot of women settle. And I think a lot of women, they want somebody, and so they take who they feel like is okay. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what happened with her. And I think a lot of women do that because of the lack of options available for Black women. Because even though she has all this money, anti-Blackness is still prevalent. If you're a billionaire, and you're in circles with other people that are extremely financially stable, you become just a regular person to them and to their circle. Of course, she might not be a regular person to like average society because of how much money she has, but once she's around people with that type of money, then she becomes just like the people that she's around, just like, I guess regular, average, everyday people, the men that they're around. And I think it just mimics what people can see, that there aren't a lot of good choices for Black women to choose from. There aren't. Whether you're a billionaire, whether you're a thousandaire, whether you only got a couple dollars, or whether you are financially stable, there aren't a lot of options for Black women in relationships and pairings that, would be looked at properly. You know what I'm saying? But I will say the ASAP Rocky, because somebody mentioned in the comments that she was like a colorist or whatever. I don't know about, Rihanna being a colorist, but I do know that ASAP Rocky is one. And if you choose to be with a man that's one, I tend to believe you probably believe the same things, especially with her connection with Chris Brown, who also is one. So, that's us, in my opinion. But I just think that Rihanna just mirrors the reality for a lot of Black women, that there aren't a lot of options, that men are gonna be out here wilding and acting up. And there are a lot of women that just say, hey, okay, well, he may not be everything that I want, but I'll just go ahead and take it. That's what I think. I think that she's just a very strong indicator that there aren't a lot of options for us. And I don't think there's a lot of options for other races of women either. I just believe a lot of times the other races of women suffer in silence. Just like how there have been a lot of studies that white tea women are a lot less likely to report DV because of shame and because of whatever, they begin to think that it's okay. I think that a lot of other women are suffering in silence and they're not saying nothing. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. But you can let me know what you think, Child Free, if you agree or disagree, or if you wanted to.
Host, I think you and I have a different perspective on it, because, and I hear what you're saying, and you make valid points. But when you're in a position, look, money talks and bullshit walks. When you're in a position where, yes, Rihanna's going to be Black, she's a Black woman, there's no question about it. That's who she is. I mean, that's a part of her makeup. But when you're in a position where you have access, because money buys you access, are there people in that room who are going to have a problem with you because of the color of your skin? 100%. Never going to pretend that's not the case. There are going to be people in that room who have a problem with you because you're from a country they're not from. I mean, let's just be honest about that. But when you're in a position where you're financially in a place where you can travel the world, you can meet all kinds. I'm not even saying the race part. If she prefers, or if that's all she finds attractive, or if that's what she likes and she's open to whatever, go for it. I just don't believe at the height of her career and the type of career she has and the type of money she has, that the most suitable guy for her in her brain as a billionaire woman was this kid, with
I
whom
get
she
what
had
you're
to sit
saying.
in court, and it could really hurt her brand. It's almost like
I get what you're saying, but
there's not a huge difference.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I get what you're
Go ahead,
saying, but
host.
it's that she has entertained other men, and things haven't worked out with them
Sure.
either. She has entertained other men
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of money, with power and privilege, and things have not worked out with them either. So I think that it could be just a situation. I'm not saying it's necessarily just because she's Black either, but I'm just saying that I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's difficult for women anywhere, no matter how much money they have, whether they find somebody. I remember seeing an interview with Keke Palmer, and Keke Palmer talking about how Steve Harvey, had hooked her up with some millionaires and billionaires, and she was saying that it didn't work out because the way they were treating her, they weren't treating her right. They were treating her badly and poorly. So I think that just because you have money
Mm-hmm.
or you have access to money, that doesn't mean that the character of the person is also going to be as rich as their bank account is. So I think that men that are
Sure.
of good character and quality are in short supply everywhere, all around the world, all around the globe. And unfortunately, you just may not be able to find it. Now, I think a woman that is a billionaire, has all this money, that is regarded as, highly attractive, you would think that she would at least be able to beat the odds and not have to be sitting there in a court case with surrounded with pookie behavior. You would think that, but clearly, I don't know. I don't know.
I take your point, host. I take your point. I totally do.
But I feel what you're saying, though. I know that it's not right, and I know that she shouldn't have accepted that. I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
No, I take your point. I totally see what you're saying.
Oh, T, did you have something to say, sis?
Good morning, everyone. What's going
Hey.
on? I need some E40 for this door. It's getting on my nerves. Anyway, yeah, this was you know what? Remember when me and you was talking about when Shorty supposedly had a new turn of life or whatever, how you say turn coat or whatever.
Yeah, the real
And
Jane?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you was like, nope, I don't trust her. Nope, I don't believe that she's changed. Yeah.
Girl,
Yeah.
I told you.
You did. You did.
Because when you are so desperate for a man that you just over there just doing any and everything and you still ain't got one, you haven't changed. Like, she was on there posting like, oh my gosh, the only thing I want is a man in my life. I'm so upset I don't have a man. Why can't I have a man? And I'm thinking to myself, like, ma'am, you're in your 30s. You posting this online is downright embarrassing. Even, I'm not saying that, having a man isn't like there's nothing wrong with a woman that wants a man. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is you getting online begging and pleading and acting like some desperate old broad is just embarrassing. And I don't understand why. And I just knew that she was doing it for attention. And her target audience is black men. You ain't never gonna get under them black men to ever accept you or be with you, because I don't believe you can be nice to black men.
No, you don't. No, I'm sorry.
No.
And I was saying that for a minute. I said, damn, it seems like you kind of can't be nice to black men. It's like, how about this? You could be, I guess, cordial, you can be polite, but as far as being super duper, well, I consider myself being nice to my husband. I
Me
think I'm nice
too.
to him,
But
you know.
you know what I mean, though. You can't
Yeah, I
be
see what
acting
you
how
say.
she acting.
Not random black men.
Yes,
Absolutely
like you
not.
cannot be doing that.
No, absolutely not. I would say that is the worst thing to do. It was more like their conversation that was getting under my skin more than anything. I had to leave the live because I just couldn't take the fake news. I couldn't take it. Like sitting there saying like some things they said it was true, some things they said it was just make believe. And saying like, there's men that's in jail for sacrificing themselves for a black woman, for their sisters, for their mothers, for this and for that. Okay, yeah, sure, that part is true. But where were you when they was talking about black men? Black men are saying that they are not sacrificing their life for random black women. You are talking about a group of men that sacrifice themselves for a family member or the woman that they are having sex with, which the black men have made it abundantly clear that if you, in order to get my protection and my provision, I got to be either sleeping with you or I have to be related to you. So that's not something like, oh yeah, see how the black men are in the community. They're not protecting just black women just off the strength that they're black women. They're saying you have to be giving me something in order to get my provision and my protection. So with that being said, how can you make this claim that black men love black women when they are saying they will not risk their life for any of us because they do not know us?
T, was you there when they said that the majority of black men are in prison because of protecting black
That's
women
what I just
helping them
said. Yeah,
out?
that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
and
Yeah,
then
that part.
she said that black women are in prison because they don't care about their kids.
Yeah, she said
And
it's women that don't even sacrifice for their own kids. Honey, your audience, the men are saying that they want to be fed before the children. That they're saying is considered disrespectful, according to black culture, is considered disrespectful to feed the children before the man of the house.
and you know what, T, did you see when she said the real Jane was like, women get she was like, the reason why women go back to men after being abused is because they need a man. She was like, and that just is the biggest thing that God is showing us, that women really need a man, because a woman's willing to go back to a man after he hurts her and puts his hands on her. I was like, what is wrong with you?
One, she's talking about her mother. That's number one, because she got mommy issues. Her mother was abused by her father. And it's not no information she gave me on the side. It's something she say on her live continuously. That her mom was getting the big bricks beat off her by her daddy. And that's how, I mean, that's how she viewed basically like a not a good woman, but basically she excused abuse from a man. So especially when he's physically being abused. So when I hear women who's coming from that background saying that, I'm like, okay, that explains a lot. A lot of these pick-me's do suffer from a lot of mommy issues. They hate their mother, and they probably got good reason why they should hate their mother. But because of that, they feel like a man is a savior, or their fathers was their superhero that they really had conjure up in their brain that really went down. No, they just as delusional as these men. Pick-me's are delusional just like these dusties are.
Hey
So
T, what was you there when she said, okay, she said that she was a prophetess, and she
yeah, she
said
did.
that
I heard
how
that.
black women are gonna need men, and like black, I think she said like black women are like a drain on society or something, like nobody likes black women, so we gotta work on getting people to like us so that when everything hits the fan, people will help us and assist us.
Yeah, with that stupid migrant stuff, like, like, cause she was posting a lot, making live saying they gonna come for us and what. I guess not. I guess she don't just want a black man. I think she just want any man at this point, cause I don't know what black man got to do with the migrant situation, the like deportation,
Yeah.
whatever's going on, and she was saying how, oh, we not safe out here in these streets. We can't be doing this and then doing that. And I seen someone wrote in the comments that said, but weren't you out in the streets holding up signs by yourself? And then she said, because I was protected by God. And the person wrote, oh, so women can do it on their own and be safe because you proved it. And I thought that was like a really hilarious comment to make. Like, I was like, oh, you know what? That's a good point. How can you sit here as a woman sitting there saying how women are not safe? We need men to protect us. Honey, you was out in the streets for like what, a year and some change by yourself in the middle of nowhere, holding up signs saying men are not the enemy. Solo dolo, living in your car, and nothing happened to you. Now, I'm not saying just because nothing happened to her that she was completely safe.
Her car?
But, huh?
She was living out of her car when she was doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh my God. Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah, she was living in her car. Yeah, and I told her that to her face when I spoke to her on live. I said, now you did look crazy. You looked real crazy. You couldn't get me to love nobody enough to live up in my car. And if a man, there is no man in this world can prove to me that he loved me while I'm living in my car.
Yep.
No, there is no way. There is no way. I wish my sugar daddy husband would have told me that bullshit. I'm sitting there living up in a car, but I love you, right? Then get me the fuck up out this car. How about that? So, it's funny how she keeps saying want to prove how much black men love us. But when you are in a homeless situation and the only person that helped you was your mother. No man came to your rescue and thought to help you get out of your homeless situation. None of those men that you was stroking their ego, that you was making them feel good, giving them words of affirmation, all of that stuff, none of them came to help you. So how can you sit here and say how men are not the enemy? We need men when you proven even to this day that you are riding through life solo dolo with a child and no man is coming to you. No man's come to your aid.
Exactly.
Especially a black man.
Because they could have easily put a GoFundMe together, took up like a collection amongst all the dudes, and gave her money to get her somewhere to go. But they did not do that. And what's crazy is they never will. And I don't think that she even makes the connection about that, is that you're supporting men, you're pouring into men who will never, ever, ever, ever pour into you. And then she's talking about, like, oh, I hope that the girls listen to me. I'm trying to reach the women and advise them on what to do. Advise them on what to do. You mean how to, like, continually pour into a Negro and not get nothing out of it? Don't nobody need to be listening to you about that. And I just want to clarify what I said earlier, just because I know I'm going to upload this to YouTube. When I said, like, you can't be nice to black men, what I mean is that you cannot, if you're in a situation where you're interested in black men, you cannot not have any standards. You cannot say, hey, you know what? There's no boundaries here. You can treat me any way how you want to treat me. And you can't just be like, oh, hey, I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom, access to my heart, soul, mind. I don't even know you like that. You can't do those type of things. I don't think you can do that with any type of man. But I have extensive, experience with dealing with black men. And I'm saying that you just offering everything up on a platter and letting the man know that you just basically are up to be played with. I don't believe that elicits feelings of respect from black men. Now, of course, if you have a man or a husband or a boyfriend, fiance, whatever, that's in your life and he's treating you the way that you need to be treated, of course, absolutely be nice to him. But I'm just saying, off the rip, absolutely not. You can never do that. A man should already know, always know, and that's even if you're in a relationship with him, that you have boundaries and you don't play. And if
Right.
he do something that violates the boundaries that y'all have put in place, that you have put in place, that you will be gone and he will be a memory. And I really do believe that now. That
Oh
a man
yeah.
should know that you don't play like that. That he
Oh yeah.
can't cheat on you, he can't beat on you, he can't disrespect you, he can't do none of that. And, but like I said, if you're in a relationship, a loving relationship, he's treating you well, of course, treat him nice. But this woman reeks of desperation. And that's the reason why she has the situation and the outcomes that she does, because you're not going to get anybody of good character being desperate. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the reasons why I feel like these men are so entitled, because when I talk to some of these guys, it's like the women will just, volunteer everything to these guys for absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So then they get triggered when they hear me talk online. I'll never forget, I posted a video saying if that man is over the age of 30, he should have stable income, a place to live, a vehicle, and some health insurance. And the amount of men who are in my age group that were upset and outraged that I said that was just absolutely insane. Like, I get if you're 20, maybe under 25, but
Yeah,
come
you said it
on.
right. Under the age of 25. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but once you get 30, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean,
What's going on? I mean, I'll never forget, I was on a live panel and this 19-year-old said that they had their own place, figured out a way to get a vehicle, even though they had to work a lot of hours, they figured it out, and that's at 19. So if you're my age, okay, what have you been doing for the past freaking 15 years since you graduated high school? You've had over 15 plus years. Why don't you have a vehicle? Like my ex-boyfriend, I just heard this about him, right? He's 35. This man is complaining, saying that nobody ever helped him. And when I was younger, I used to give him money. His mom gives him a free place to stay. His grandma, his grandpa, and his aunt. Everybody, he's had a free place to live for 35 years. And he don't got nothing. He don't got no car. He don't got nothing in his name. And he was mad. I was told that he was mad because nobody's giving him any money anymore. And it's like, dude, you're almost 40. You're not a kid.
yep. I blame his mama for that too. That's his mama fault. His mama should have put his ass out when he was 25. That's what she should have. That's what she should have done. The amount of indoctrination that has been going on, and they still trying to convince black men are still trying to convince black women that just because I don't have nothing, that don't mean that I'm not a good man. That they still are entitled to a relationship, and you are like basically you're obligated to help and assist them. There is no help in assisting a man that's, like you said, over the age 30. At that point, over the age 30, you're just asked out. It is what it is. No one should help you. You deserve to be where you at. Like, seriously.
This is why when I hear younger women talk about dating older guys and not expecting anything from these older dudes, I'm like, child, This man has had all
No.
this time. He's had all this time. What has he been doing? What have you been doing with your time to where you have not accomplished anything? You don't have no money. You ain't got no car. And those are basic adult things. That's not something extravagant
You
at
have
all.
Pickmes like this on my left side, they would accept a man like that because he's just a man. Because we already saw Shorty's husband saying they're posting where the hoes at, what about tricking and asking derogatory questions on Facebook. And then we got this one that so desperately need a man. So she'll accept a bum like that. She'll accept a bum and move him into her mother house with her child, which is extremely, extremely dangerous, ladies. And they will say that they did a good they will say they did a great thing. And women like me and you are horrible women to judge a man based off his accomplishments, to judge a man based off that he don't have certain things. We're horrible women. We're horrible women. We're horrible women. You like, it's the idea of dating an older man and don't have nothing that makes no sense to me, because he's already sucking up your youth. He already taking up your time. My thing is it's
The
just
fact that I've
how
been
you as an
homeless
older
twice.
man wants a younger woman and don't expect to take care of her.
My
Like,
issue is I've been
seriously.
homeless twice, right? With my newborns. I have
Mhm.
two kids. I have been each time because I was trying to get away from my ex, and I ended up in a DV shelter. I was
Mhm.
homeless twice, and I didn't have no support. And it's like and maybe I'm just being salty, but it really makes me mad that there are grown men out here who, for 35 years or 40 years, because they've had somebody taking care of them and helping them, they just got comfortable and they haven't accomplished anything in their lives at all.
Do you see that bum on TikTok talking about how he wants to move in with a woman? I need help from a woman. He's homeless and he's talking. His mama kicked him out, or his mama done kicked the bucket, whichever one of the two. And he's on TikTok talking about how he wants to live with a woman, and he's a good man, and how he needs a good woman that's gonna help build with him. There is no help
The man
building
is
with you,
my
B.
age.
Yeah,
That's
and he
my
has a record. And he does. Yeah, he
he's
went a whole
my age.
felon. A
He's my
whole
age. What does he talk
felon.
about building? It's like, if you're 18, 19, 20, okay, I get into a relationship and building with whoever you're with because you're young and you just got out there. But if you're my age and you're 30 something years old and you talk about building with a woman, it's like, sir, what have you been doing all these years?
Being a bum, having his mom take care of it, just like my sister just said in the comments. She said he just want a mama to smash. That's it.
Good morning, family.
Morning.
I'm always happy to be where my people are. This act this here, if we really, since we gonna be grown, I look, since I knew I was in good company when I saw T Scorpio on the pen. I said, oh, I could be, I could be a little bit more free. I could bring all the bacon grease with me today. I could bring all the bacon grease
Come
with me today.
on, bring
I
it
could bring all
on.
the bacon grease with
Listen, we all up in the morning. I'm having my coffee, all of
me.
that. I'm ready to take on the day. And this
We
was
go,
just
then
ugh.
let's get it. One of the things that I have found, going through level 40, and if God be for me, 43 come June. What I have noticed is it's insidious, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. There are black girls. We are taught to be more of an adult than black men are, and I will be taking no questions. We are taught from the time that we can reach a stove, that it is our job to help contribute and do whatever else, right? And there are classes of black men who haven't been taught that. I remember having conversations with my mother. I remember I was about maybe 13, 14. No, I was about 14, 15 years old. And we were actually making greens one Sunday. And she said, yeah, if you know how to make a good pot of greens, you can get a good man. Now, because I be on my writer things this morning, I really want to pick out what, quote unquote, a good man is. What is a good woman? Because when men come to me with that, I want to know, what does that mean for you? Because at this stage in game, much like Sage, having to restart my life after getting with a man who I thought could help me, who I thought, quote unquote, we were building something with, only to find out that what we were building had a trap door in it, and I fell through that, having to start my life over again. What does good mean? Because when you ask me that, I'ma say, good sounds like you want somebody that you can do bad and she suffers well. I didn't, we didn't been together this long, and I didn't did this, and I just need a woman I can build with. To me, when you say build, that means you have nothing. And I have said this from the last forever, and even sis knows this. I am infamous for saying 5 years at 20 is not the same 5 years at 30, not the same 5 years at 40. I don't have the time. I don't have the time anymore to figure out how good of a man you are. I don't have time for that. But some of these cats, oh, hi, Nee Isabel. Some of these cats will say that you and your masculine. No, that's not what that is. What you hear is power. And Bell Hooks said it's not that they don't see your power. They see it and don't want it to exist. What I don't have anymore is the wherewithal to suffer with you. What I don't have anymore is the capacity to house confusion. Because I'm at the age now, if you say I want to lead, I'm like, why? Where we going? And why we got to go this way? I'm gonna ask some questions. I asked my G this last night. I said, because we were having these, revolutionary conversations. I said, he's like, well, there's a war between black men and black women. I'm like, okay, that's cap, but I don't have time for this right now, because you really have not done the reading for this. And I said, let's just put it like this. James Baldwin told Nikki Giovanni in this famous interview that's still up on YouTube in 1971. He said, we are in trouble, but we are in the unique position to know that we are in trouble. I told my G, I said, well, if we know the house is on fire, and you say, follow me to get out. I, as a woman, as your counterpart, not as your woman or whatever else, but as your counterpart in this situation, I'm going to ask you which way we going. And you can't get mad at me because I'm asking where you going. And the thing that I find so disturbing and so disrupting to my black woman reality is Pickmes make this shit so dangerous. Even this morning when I was on Facebook and looking at the uppity Negress redo on Facebook, her page, child, the girl that Milagro, who was out here in that smear campaign with Meg for Tory, child, she did all that shenanigans for $3,000, and now she need $100,000 for a legal defense.
Pathetic.
I wish I was lying. She did all that confusion for $3,000. And she now got to go fund me because she need $100,000 for your legal defense. My thing is, Pickmes are dangerous because you put the entire community at risk because you want a man, because you want to be seen. And then when you run up on feral women like myself, I'm gonna ask you some questions. And I have gotten to the age now. I don't care you call me a bitch. I don't care. I don't care you say you gonna die alone. Everybody do. I don't care. You over the hill. Well, you up here with me? Because if I'm 43 and you 43, right, you finna go up the mountain. You finna go over the mountain before I do, player.
I don't even see your method working. I'm sorry.
Because look, I am of the mindset that when we have these conversations especially as black women, we must have the courage to pull this shit up. Because if I want to be, because we holler about now, especially the time and space we in now, that we are rebuilding community, we are making conscious decisions, we are being smarter with our money, we're being more intentional about our relationship. I can't have a woman in my space who I can call my sis, and you check and your main motivation is to get and keep male attention. I can't have that. Even if I was still a married woman, I wouldn't want that. Because my life can't just solely revolve around my husband. And the thing that and correct me if I'm wrong, sis, what I think is the issue now, because I know sis is a happily married woman. I'm trying to get like her. My thing is when you have these conversations with other black women, the thing that comes up consistently is, especially when those black women are married pick-me's, which is a whole other thing, and you tell them like, look, okay, that's great for you, but that doesn't work for me. And then they want to downgrade you and say, well, since you ain't got no husband, you ain't. No. It's not the fact that, quote unquote, I don't have a husband. It's the fact that I am choosing at this point in my life to decenter men. A man the only man who gave me a name that mattered was my father. The only man who ever gave me a name that has carried me through this life is my daddy. And I had a father that told me, not every man you meet you was gonna be right, and you have to take care of yourself. It has never been, if we're gonna be 100, it has never profited a black woman to be a pick-me.
No, it has not.
It has never profited a woman to
Never have.
consistently be a pick-me. Again, this is from the curator of the Traditional Women's Storytelling Project. It seems as if a great many, let's just say 75% of these men want, maybe that may be too high. Let's say between 40 and 70% of these men now that are quote unquote in the dating pool, you want a woman with no options. You want a woman who when she
Again.
I believe that 40 to 70% of these men, quote unquote, in this dating pool, you want a woman with no options. You want a woman with no education, no means of taking care of herself, no means of leaving you, no means of correcting you, which is why some of these men want women, quote unquote, in their 20s because she don't know nothing. Because she hasn't lived long enough to discern crazy when she see it. She has been taught, perhaps maybe, that the best thing she can get is a husband. I was talking about G last night, and he actually has a 20-year-old daughter. He's been in her life since, married, been in her life, and he's concerned about the state of the community as I am. And he told her that, you always been take care of yourself, baby girl, and find you a husband. And because I'm me, I said, and that's the key thing, a husband, somebody who is going to be in her life and stick this out with her and not put her through pain and suffering so she can, quote unquote, be chosen. I said that right there is the issue, because I'm not finna suffer to stay with you. And again, the thing that be so wild is, some of these men, you want women like our mothers and grandmothers because they had no options. She couldn't get a bank. Again, people fail to realize a woman couldn't even get her own bank account unless she was married or her brother or her father had to sign for her to get one. Go to school. The things we take advantage of now and think quote unquote as normal, our mothers and grandmothers couldn't even have that. Why you think your grandma has sock money? Come on, man.
I agree with everything that you're saying, sis. I just think that um more of us that are, like-minded, that realize the danger in spreading pick me rhetoric, the danger in indoctrinating young women, and that even if you have to lower your standards or your boundaries or expectations, you should still do that in just to have one. Or, the other half of shaming women that don't have someone by their side, and making those women feel like they're inadequate. I think that we need to give them like intense, extreme pushback. Like I was saying earlier, that the Janine Just a Girl, her sitting there talking about in one video where she talks about how lazy and trifling, black women are, and how what black women want to do is be taken care of by the black man, even though historically black women have never done that. But she begins to talk about how lazy black women are, and you have to work for a soft life, and you have to work to get that type of thing. And that's what she's done. She's done the work. And but she made sure that she said, hey, I'm not that type of black woman. I'm different from the rest of these black women. And I don't know why more people are not offended with the fact that she makes a huge separation between herself and the collective of black women, but she does. And I think that she shouldn't be in a position of uplifting or advise. I wouldn't say uplifting because that's how she's doing, but advising black women at all. But I think that and this is, I said earlier, I think that Janine Just a Girl exposes the fact that even though there'll be women like, you Sage, you T, you Jay, that there are still a lot of women that have the mentality of Janine. There are a lot of extremely male-centered pick-me's, women that will accept any type of treatment from a man just to say that they have one. They'll marry a man that looks like a literal cartoon character like Janine just to say that they have somebody. The other lady, the real Jane, they will be online begging for a crumb of attention or acting out, hoping that they can get Negroes to pay them attention. You know, there are a lot of women out there that resonate with these women because they are those women. And those women are not in short supply. And there are a lot of them. And I really do believe that, you know, I know a lot of Black women, you know, have, you know, divorced themselves from the Black community, which is understandable. But I will say that if you ever hope that there can be any type of, you know, improvement in the state of the Black community, it never will be until we address these like legions of women that behave in this way, because they are the ones that you know, indoctrinate that entitlement into Black men. They're the ones that center Black men as the prize. And so Black men move in the world in believing that. That is exactly the reason why they are, you know, selfish as a collective and think that they're supposed to get all of this special treatment, preferential treatment, princess treatment, while the women in their community suffer and toil and mammy for them. And we got to call it out. Like, honestly, for real.
Can I say something? So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that a lot of these Black men who are crashing out, the ones who these pick-me's have enabled and made them feel entitled, a lot of them are upset at the types of women that they have access to, which is the pick-me's. A lot of these Black men, they don't want access to pick-me women. And the thing about it is that a lot of Black women are opting out. I mean, women in general are opting out, but a lot of Black women are opting out. And what happens is that the best way it was explained to me, I don't know if you've ever played Jenga, or like you know, you have a pyramid and you pull some of the cornerstone blocks out, or you pull some of the right blocks out from Jenga, and it all topples over. So because there are so many Black women and the message is spreading that are opting out, that's no longer tolerating that the poor behavior, what's happening is a lot of things are getting put back on the sisters who have enabled the behavior, the mothers who have enabled the behavior, basically, and the pick-me's that have enabled the bad behavior, and they're suffering the consequences of the bad behavior. And this is, and I hate to say this is one of the reasons why you're seeing matricide and I don't know if it lets me say this word, but matricide and soricide go up, because I have noticed a great increase in those cases. But I do think things are kind of self-correcting themselves. It's just I think we just definitely need to give it a lot of time. But I really do think that a lot of Black women just choosing not to date, choosing to stay single, choosing ourselves, especially with women, it's projected that women, a lot of us are going to be single and childless, and that's going to leave these men with nobody. And what I have noticed with my peers that I went to school with is that a lot of my male peers, they don't have their stuff together, and they're upset because they don't have access to women like they used to back when they was in school. But they don't understand that back when we were in school and back when we were in our early 20s, we lived with our parents and we didn't really have any responsibilities. But now we're in our 30s and we realize how much life and being an adult costs and how much work it is. And nobody has time to be playing around. Just like JB said, nobody has time to be playing around when you're in your 30s plus.
Not at all. And that's another reason why they're online crashing out, demanding Black women to be submissive, demanding Black women to not judge a Black man based off his finances. You see with Umar Johnson talking about, oh, he just don't have the European standard of income. That don't mean that you have to not get with him. You get with him and then you pour into him, and he's gonna make a certain, like, you know, y'all both make a certain amount of money. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. There is no pouring into no 40-year-old. No. He's just a bum. And that's it. And this how I know that we're doing really good, because the amount of aggression of the message on how important it is to build with a black man and be with a black man. That's how I know we must be doing something right. Because the advertisement to get with these bums is, like I said, is very aggressive. And I noticed that the message is spreading. Yes, it is. It's spreading. And the fact that we are saying that, yes, we are coming from that 90s and that 90s era where, the dudes were standing. I can't stand that when it happens. In the 90s, that, men are saying that they want that 90s love era, that 90s love, when, pick a song from the 90s, like, them Pickmes songs and stuff like that, when they're doing everything for a man and everything. Like, no, we have grown from that.
I
Listen,
love that song by Escape. No, I
I
just want
can't
to say
stand
this
that
point
song.
before I forget.
Go
Before I
ahead.
forget this, so what I've noticed is I think a lot of black men are noticing the shift and they're panicking, because I literally had a guy that I went to school with, and he just messaged me and said, I hate your content. He see my TikTok content. He says my content makes him angry. I've had multiple guys that I went to school with where my Facebook posts, it makes them angry. And I'm like, well, why does it make you angry? Oh, because you don't have your stuff together. That's why it makes you angry. But when I say that a lot of black men are noticing the shift, like I would literally see a post with a problematic black man that might be with a non-black woman, and the non all throughout the comments, nonstop, black women, this is not our fight. 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 Black women stand down. I mean, just nonstop all throughout the comments. And I'm starting to see black men comment and be like, and noticing the shift, like just like that guy who got unalived by his white baby mom, white baby mama, and he said he would rather mess with a dog than a black woman, and he said that the dog had to be white. His family is crashing out on Facebook because they thought they could disrespect black people, disrespect black women, and now they got a GoFundMe and they need help, and all everybody's doing is just mocking them about all the problematic things that they said, because I mean he said some real horrible, nasty, vile things. And they're mad that basically they were entitled to the fact that they could disrespect black women and be with non-black women and still think that they could get our support. And they're noticing, a lot of black men are noticing, oh snap, we can't just disrespect black women anymore and still be able to come to them for financial support or support if the police do something to us. Oh snap, we're realizing that we try to go over to these non-black women, and now black women are like, no, we're not going to be the come up women. We're not going to be the backup women. I even made a video where I told dark-skinned black women, do not give the guys who used to bully you back in high school for being dark-skinned a chance. Do not give them a chance. And I broke that down. I'm not going to summarize it here. But a lot of dark-skinned black women agree with me, because I know that they've said, a lot of times when you date these guys who are with non-black women, they act like they're doing a black woman a favor by dating a black woman, especially if you're of the darker shades or darker hues. So I think what's happening is these black men are starting to panic because they know that they are collectively losing the support of black women, right? And they're freaking out because they've just felt entitled to disrespecting and abusing us, and us just being there. And I am so proud of black women for removing the support and being like, stand down and let the preferences help them. Let the preferences take care of them. But I'm sorry, I veered off topic. I apologize.
What you were saying was 100% facts. Just like with the mass deportation issue, I said I don't see black men saying anything to keep their preferences in the country. If anyone black that should be doing the work to keep them in the country should be black men. Since Latino women are better, Asian women are better, all these other ethnic women, women of different races or whatever, are better than black women, they should be out there requiring them to put in the work to keep them in this country. So that's what I've been saying for like the past few weeks. So, and it's just consistent contradiction when you listen to these men and when you listen to these Pickmes. Because if you look at her audience are just women just like her. Women who are smart and have real discernment and just plain on common sense will listen to her and say, no. Just like a lot of women had walked away from her when she said, you had me until you said you'll let your husband play in your face 20 times before you let 20 men play in your face. A lot of women have said, no, you lost me with that. I'm not putting up with disrespect of any kind just to say I have a man in my life. Which like, I'm like, when I heard that in the comments, I was like, oh, see, look like look like they did have some type of like I said, some type of common sense. But the audience that she's listening, but the audience that she still have are just women just like her. And that's just the truth of the matter, is that it's going to be women just like this around. And honestly speaking, I hope they do get the man that they looking for. I really do. I really do hope that these dudes that's on the internet crashing out, sitting here begging someone to take care of them, I hope they get with them so they can leave our future daughters alone. So my niece won't be nowhere near dusties like them. So I got how many nieces I have? I have about I have 5 nieces, and I don't want any of these dusties around them. So I hope these Pickmes do take all of them, so it won't be none of them left. And it's not just when we talking about getting provided for when it comes to his establishment. It's about his mindset. It's about a man that knows, just because a man that's aware that women require to be treated well, and why shouldn't I treat my partner well? Why should I be disrespectful? Why should I cheat on her? Why should I do all of these things to her? And that's another thing these Pickmes like to try to drill into our head, that's basically try to normalize that this is how men behave. Men are going to cheat. Men are gonna, you can't be loud to a man. He don't go upside your head. Or you know how men are. Like when you hear women that say, well, you know how men are, that they setting you up for failure. They're setting you up for failure so they can normalize abusive behavior in a relationship, because we all know that's 9 out of 10. That's what these Pickme women are dealing with. These Pickme women are not with men that's uplifting them, that's worshiping the ground that they walk on and treating them well. These Pickmes are getting dragged through the mud. They're getting dragged through it up and down. Look at Rashida and Kurt. I love using them as an example. They did a video walking together talking about through the fire. The only person that walked through the fire was Rashida. You cannot convince me that's a power couple. Y'all love each other when one person is suffering more than the other person because of the other person.
Tag, sis.
That is like facts.
Ooh,
Definitely.
can the church just say amen off of what T Scorpio just said? You said that, man.
Listen,
Listen, because if we walking through, sis said they did the video walking through the fire, but she said the only person walking through the fire was Rashida. Can we just
Yeah.
listen. Rashida was the
I mean, that
only
was
one
like,
walking
that
through
was a
that
can
bar.
fire.
we just
That was
rejoice
a
off
bar.
that? Because I refuse to be made a fool out of by a man who will lay on me, lay up in me, and then demand I be a fool in public. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And as I said before, the fact is that some of these dudes, you want a woman like your grandma because you want a woman with no options, no autonomy,
I
no
get.
money, no stature, no pull, no push, no nothing.
All right.
Now
I'll give you. Hey,
I
Jay. I'll give you 2
woo.
minutes, and then I'll
I'm
go up
now
there
now
to
my
Tay.
now my now my now my sister took her camera off. I'm gonna sit back and drink my coffee.
Hey.
My sister that popped up off the camera, bitch.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna go up here to Tay real fast and give Tay 2 minutes, and then I'll go down here to K Petty. Hey, and how you doing, sis? Good to see you
Hey
too.
y'all, I'm on my planning period. I was just scrolling through trying to get ready for the rest of these children. But
Oh, hold on, Kate. I think Tay was first. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. You can go ahead, Tay.
Hey y'all, so I think personally, okay, hey y'all. So I'm a God fearing woman. I think the problem with Pickmes a lot of times is they do pacify bad behavior from men. And I have a son, and I'm always 100% telling my son, you need to be a respectful young man, you need to do this, you need to do that. Because we don't want to, as mothers, we don't want to create the men that we eventually are going to despise later. And that's what a lot of like the Rashidas and things, that's what they do. They raise their sons to become their husbands, and their husbands are terrorizing women. And I mean, I'm also a woman that does believe in the nuclear unit, and it's important for men and women to come together to create healthy Black families. But I won't do that at the expense of women suffering. And that's the only thing I disagree with the I'm just a girl. You know, she does tend to say, well, men are going to do this and men are going to do that. Well, let's hold our men to a higher standard, because women are held to a very high standard. We can't make a mistake because our mistakes follow us for life. Men don't have that. They don't live through that world where they can make a mistake or they can continuously be bad partners, and you know, they don't suffer any consequences for that. And one of the hardest things, and I also have a daughter too, I would not want my daughter to suffer in a relationship just to say that she has a man. He needs to be an upstanding man. He needs to be a man that is faithful and understands the vows that he took before God are precious, that means something. And so I think the only problem I have really with the true pick-me's and how dangerous they are is that they pacify bad behavior, and I just don't see how they don't understand that that's going to lead to destruction of our community later on. And I'll pass it on to Kay.
Okay, all right, Tay. I don't have any problems with what you said. I think Kay said that she'll be right back. And I see T drop too. She probably had something that she had to do. But I mean, I definitely agree. I think that like what I've said earlier is just that I really do believe that, you know, what some women that maybe pick me hope to achieve, it will never be achieved because you can never get a healthy community out of allowing women to suffer and to tolerate all type of BS. That's not going to work. And also having such an uneven power dynamic, just like what T was saying earlier, that Janine had said about, oh, I let my husband cheat on me 20 times before I went to a different man and got cheated by these different men 20 times. Like, that doesn't make any sense, you know, and that's not a healthy way of thinking, period, for anyone. It's just not. And I think the more we have panels to identify pick me's, to break down their rhetoric, and then hopefully other women can come across it, we can stop more women from becoming victims, you know, because sometimes, there may be Black women that are impressionable, or a Black woman that's in a bad spot, or she's lonely or whatever, and she looks up to these type of women thinking that she'll be able to get some type of positive result out of it. And, she never will. You know what I'm saying? Okay, no problem, Sage. It
Can
was
you
really
put me
good
on the
having
big
you up.
screen, Trigger?
What'd you say, T?
Me on the big screen?
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Just real quick. This is, oh man, they can't see their face. That's Rashida and that's Kirk walking through this is the music video I was talking about. They was walking through the flames, holding each other hands, trying to show the world, trying to put out this image that they love is strong, that they have an unspeakable bond, that we'll go through anything together and we will still remain together. No, no. This is the type of relationship that pick me's are promoting. And anytime that you hear a woman that say you have to go through the flames with your man, think about Rashida and Kurt. When they say you have to go through the flames with your man, they say, no, sister, you're going to have to burn a little bit up to a crisp just to remain, just maintaining that relationship, because truth of the matter is it wouldn't be no relationship if Rashida still wouldn't be there. The only person there's only one person holding up that relationship, and that's just Rashida. That's the only person not letting him go. Cause this man ain't been let Rashida go. This man been done stop being with Rashida. He is not there mentally. He is not there spiritually. He is not there financially. He's not there at all. Emotionally at all. This man do not love this woman at all. But yet they will try to convince you that this is the standard of what love is. This is true love. True love is suffering. No, it's not. True love is not love does not supposed to hurt. Don't ever let these pygmies try to convince you that you going through pain with your man is supposed to prove that y'all love is strong. What's the whole purpose of being in a relationship if I'm gonna go through some pain? I'd rather go through pain by myself. Cause I already got enough in my life to be upset about. I got enough in my life to feel sad about. I don't need to add on another human being to add on that layer of disappointment and anger. You don't. You really don't. And this is the type of relationships that black people are trying to promote consistently, and I cannot stand it. Say no to struggle love. Say no to this. Cause this I don't even consider this love. This is not love at all. This is not love. This is an abusive relationship. This is worse than Ike and Tina. This is worse than Bobby and Whitney. This is a horror show. A straight up horror show. And why be in it? Why? It's not even worth it. It's not worth it at all. So that was like when I hear these pygmies talk about relationships and talk about you'll let a man play in your face 20 times, what comes to my mind is Rashida and Kurt. That man and them played in her face 20,000 times.
And let's just really pull at what you just said, sis. I'm reminded of Dr. Angelo, who said, "Love is many things. What it is not is unsure." What we gonna really have to uncover, right, as it relates to this Black collective, is what is love for us. We know that Dr. Nikki Giovanni said Black love is Black wealth, but we gonna have to redefine what that Black love is. And I say this with all love and strength, because I know I am the product of two Black parents who loved each other, but they made the decision every day to be together. I saw what it was like. I saw what it looked like for couples to go through things and not be put through things. It's one thing for us to walk through the fire. It's another thing, like if you set the fire, that's different. It's one thing for us to walk through the fire. It's another thing for you to set it. And the thing that I find interesting is when you talk about, again, I'm a poet, I'm essayist, this is words is what I do. And when you mention love, especially for Black women, it's always attached to struggle. And you as a Black woman have to determine that that's not what I want. And then when you tell cats, regardless of his color or race, ethnicity, nationality, how much money in his pocket, when you tell him, I'm not going to settle for struggle love, I'm not finna do that. I'm not going to do that. And the first thing that they revert back to is this, what you think is this idealized version of love that you may have seen with your grandparents, not having the intellectual curiosity to say, was my grandmother even happy? Because you got cats out here, well, I'm not washing the dishes or helping my wife. That's her job. Now she working just like you working because y'all want 50-50, right? But she do 100% of the housework. She done dealt with people, things, bills, just like you do. And you can't even put the meat in the zinc to thaw out to make chicken. I'm supposed to pick up the cares of the world, the cares of this house, tend to you, tend to the babies, do everything else, satisfy your man needs because that's my job as your woman, quote unquote. But I can't ask you to be here the softness I try to give to you can't give to me. We gonna have to redefine what it means to love a Black woman. Cause I keep saying some of these dudes are just compulsory heterosexual. You will sleep with a woman, but they don't like women.
Can we say that again? Because every time
Some of these
mention
cats
that,
are compulsory heterosexual, and just like you said, sis, the only person walking through the fire was Rashida. Again, now there's things that happen when you are a couple, and again, sis being the happily married woman on this panel, who I'm trying to get like, It's one thing to have life give you fires, right? That, you know, the deaths of parents, loss of job, you know, the life is changed. You know, everybody with this crazy man in office, people got to adjust. That's a fire. It's another thing for you to have set the fire and demand that I be in this shit with you, because quote unquote I love you. And we have to understand what it looks like to have quote unquote your love be weaponized. I know what that's like. Well, if you love me, you won't leave. I've had a man who I was trying to build my life with tell me that. Well, how you gonna break our family up like this? And then when you tell him the laundry list of shit that he has done, that you have put up with, that you prayed about, right? That you try to settle in your mind, that you try to compromise, that you've tried and be like, you know what, I can't do this no more. Only to have the affection that you had weaponized against you, powered by shame, to say, you know what, why would you want to break our family up? I remember my ex-husband looked me in my face and said, we've been together this long, we might as well stay together. What? He looked, black man, now he looked me in my now we having all these issues, all these problems. I remember telling him, I don't think you know how to love me. I said, I think you like the idea of me, but I don't think you know how to love me. And I'm like, this is what I need. This dude looked me in my face and said, we've been together this long, we might as well stay together. I remember thinking to myself, why would you want to stay with somebody who does not make you happy? Who does not meet you where you are? And I remember telling him to his face, I said, the woman that you want me to be, I cannot become. I can't be her.
Not for him. You can't
be
whatever. Be that woman for him, because he's not putting you in a safe space to allow you to be that woman. And that's the thing that a lot of these pick-me's have forgotten. I think one of the things, like I keep saying to men, the same thing I'm gonna say to these pick-me's. You've never experienced happiness before. You don't know what it feels like to be in a safe space, to be your authentic self, because one of the things with pick-me's, they consistently putting on a facade. They consistently putting on an image because they want to show that they have an enviable estate, when in all reality they don't. If you look at their life, if you look at if you look at their face says it all. That you look stressed out. You look like you being taken there, huh? You are literally living in your own hell.
My mother said, don't nothing age you faster than a crazy acting man.
That's exactly what my mother said. She said, man
don't
would age
nothing
you 10
age you
times
faster than
faster.
a crazy acting man.
That's what she said.
I looked at pictures when I was with my ex-husband and pictures of me now. I look younger now than I was when I was with him. And the thing that be so, and I keep going back to the fire analogy that you just gave. You want me to walk through something, man. You want me to walk you something that you created. You want me to walk
if a man love you, he wouldn't want you to walk through no fire
to prove that I'm with you. Now, again, because as Sis said a minute ago, that the standard for, now, if we're going to be 100 and continue to try to be free, the standard for quote unquote being an acceptable black woman is high, and it's moving, it's impossible. I'm forever saying the right kind of black woman does not exist. We all know that. Pick-me's don't believe that, which what makes them dangerous. And then while you out here trying to quote unquote live your best married life, sis, some of your husbands in these quote unquote feral, single, undesirable women's inboxes. I mean, if we gonna be 100, I can't tell you how many men have tried to push up on me about that. Because no ma'am. But the thing that I keep going back to is, it's one thing for life to give us fires that we as a couple have to go through, which means that you need to have enough in you as a man that we can walk through together, and strategies, and where I'm weak, you're strong, and vice versa. We can lean on one another, and we build that safety and intimacy within our relationship. That way, what you tell me as your woman, I don't tell the internet, and vice versa. That's one thing that we are building the fire extinguishers for our own life, right? It's another thing for you to set the fire and demand I stand this with you when I'm the only one inhaling smoke.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm the only, and my Aunt Valerie said this to me when I was in a really horrible relationship in my early 20s. She looked at me in my face and said, Jay, you the glue. I said, Auntie, what does that mean? She said, if you quit this relationship, ain't no relationship.
See?
She said, you are the one holding this together. And this is why I be so glad when sis has these live and I try my best to jump on them. Because we have to, as these budding, elders, right? These new aunties, these new mamas, have to bring the wisdom in the room and tell these young girls just because he chose you don't mean you can't choose yourself too. Because any man willing to set you on fire to prove that you can take it is not one you need to be with.
Oh, who you telling? Like, these men will consistently want
I
to.
ain't being nobody match.
When I hear a
I'm
man,
not being
when
nobody
I hear a
match.
man that asks those hypotheticals and say, "What if this happened? What if this happened? What if this happened?" You, sir, you asking too much questions. What are you setting this woman up for? Because for you to listen, when my husband had told me, this is when we were seeing each other. When he told me, "I hate to see you upset. I don't like to see you stress out. I don't like to see you in pain." When I go through my postpartum little rants or whatever, and he just straight up go, I hate to see you upset. I hate to see you like this. I don't like to see you. I don't like to see this. I don't like to see you suffering. And to me, I was like, that's the type of man that every woman should be with. That should be the standard. Any man that loves you and care about you will let you know, like, he don't want to see you in no type of sufferance whatsoever, because he wants to see you happy. He wants to see you stress free. He wants to see you glowing. He wants you to walk around looking beautiful, being happy. That's what a man that loves you wants to see you. Any man that's comfortable with you crying, comfortable with you complaining about what he's not doing and always gotta beg him to change and be a better person for you, that is not the man for you, sis. And it's always somebody for somebody, or it could be nobody for nobody. Women have to, what I always like to stress out is that women have to be comfortable by themselves. You can't expect anyone to love you when you don't love yourself. Because you already showing that to that man. That man is looking at you like you don't even love yourself. And you hear men consistently say, I don't respect no one who don't respect themselves. But the only thing is that man ain't telling that to you. He ain't saying that to you in your face. But that is how he feels. That's how these toxic men feel. And we're not going to say that's just men. No. That's toxic, abusive men. And you can't be vulnerable consistently because these men are looking for vulnerable women. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for women that are weak-minded and are vulnerable and desperate. I see, Trigger, you say you about to go in like 10 minutes, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna gotta give me something. I gotta do something.
Okay, go ahead. I see y'all ladies later.
Oh, and I appreciate everything that you said, T. Like, I think everything that you said was like completely on point and correct. And I think that what you said about Rashida and Kirk, I really do think that was a bar, like, honestly. And hopefully, somebody heard this live and they could take that and actually apply it in their real life, because I think that's something that definitely any woman that would be in that type of situation would need to hear, truthfully. Jay, did you have anything to say, sis?
The only thing I had to say is don't be nobody match, but a match for yourself. That's it. And if you a match for yourself, you already a torch. You got all the power you need. You have on the inside of you. Don't let nobody play you for a fool or in your face. You got your own $40.
Well, my last remark I'm going to say is the first person you should fall in love with is yourself. Have a relationship with yourself. And I say this even as a married woman. I said I'm content with being single for the rest of my life. I'm okay with that. I'm okay being single for the rest of my life, or I'm even fine being married to this man for the rest of my life. But the point is how I'm already set up in my mind saying that I'm comfortable with or without this man. And that is why I'm able to have happiness in my marriage, because I'm already happy when he met me. I was already full when he stepped to me. He was a full man stepping to a full woman. That is why this, I believe in this relationship will be happy and healthy, and every woman should have that mindset as well. Or if you just want to be by yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said just now, there's nothing wrong with that. So with that being said, ladies, please love yourself, love your children, because if anybody is relying on you to keep your mind together, keep your focus, your energy, you have to be on point. It's for your kids. And that's probably why it was hard. It's like, for me to have a safe space was important, and it was what's the word I'm looking for? It was imperative that I have a safe space, because that I need that for my son. He's my number one priority, the number one person I'm worried about, the number one person I care about. And that's what my husband said that was very attractive to him, seeing that I basically prioritize my son. So with that being said, ladies, please protect yourself. Like I said, protect your children, protect your mind, protect your sanity, protect your body, protect your money, protect your home. Please don't be like these women. Don't do it. It's not going to pan out for you, and it's not going to pan out well with your children.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I definitely agree with everything that you said. And yeah, and that's all I'm sorry, you guys, I end up having to do something, but I appreciate this conversation and dialogue that we were able to have. T, I appreciate you for putting me on to what they were saying, because that was just ridiculous. And yeah. And if you're a Black woman and you're listening to this, I just want you to know that I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. You're valuable and you're special. And never forget that. And don't let anybody make you, lower your standards or accept, what I'm saying, BS, because like T said, it's never gonna work out. And once again, I just want to say a million times over, I really do appreciate you, T. Always good to see you. Always good to hear your perspective and your thoughts. Once again, I want to say I appreciate you, Jay. It's always good to hear your perspective, your thoughts, your poetry, the way you put your words together. It's always so good to hear. I appreciate you guys. Oh, and also Sage. I know Sage is gone, but also appreciate Sage for coming up here and talking and giving her perspective. Always appreciate her too as well. And I think it was another lady that came up here with two ladies. I think Tay and Child Free, Trad White. Appreciate y'all too. But yeah, all right. I'll see y'all guys later.